6%? 7%? That's a lot of money. I might as well just do it myself. Well, that might be true, if a lot of that money you're paying a real estate broker is going toward outdated methods, unnecessary fancy offices, and overpaying executives for a lifetime of service. But you don't need to go that route. Silver Compass Realty is a full-service real estate brokerage serving all of South Central Wisconsin, and the commission is negotiable. Silver Compass will explain exactly what they're going to do to help you buy or sell a home, how that will help you reach your goals, and stand right beside you every step of the way. They want to be your broker, your expert, even when you're not in the middle of a transaction. Silver Compass Realty, helping you find your way home. Contact them today at silvercompassrealty.com or call 608-361-8608. Silver Compass Realty, helping you find your way home.
Burger House 41 is open at 1860 West Mason in Green Bay. You're invited to indulge in one of life's simplest pleasures, a great burger. We're grilling up 15 fresh signature burgers and have over 30 craft beers for the perfect pairing. Experience Wisconsin's best flavors, including white cheddar cheese curds, a variety of specialty sandwiches, milkshakes, and gourmet frozen custard. Burger House 41 at 1860 West Mason is open at 11 a.m. daily. Taste Wisconsin. Taste amazing.
Would you like to experience being one of the free people who produce their own meat and eggs? PurelyPoultry.com has both the chickens and supplies you need to raise your own poultry.
Would you like pets who produce eggs you can barter with? Your own source of clean meat?
A swan on your pond to make your home strikingly beautiful?
How about some pheasants and quail roaming in your woods for enjoyment? If so, check out PurelyPoultry.com.
Welcome back to the Free People Show at freepeopleshow.com and on Facebook and many other platforms. If you go to freepeopleshow.com, you can see all the lovely platforms on which we exist in a cybernetic fashion.
Listen in on Spreaker.
You could probably listen in through the NSA too, although I don't know. Somebody told me last night on an online meeting that the NSA is actually in area code 740, which I might be, is that in Wisconsin?
No, it's not a Wisconsin area code.
It came up during a meeting last night, but I'm getting a little random. We are talking about funding higher education. That's a very broad way of
or
talking
not
about
funding.
Or not funding and all the problems therein.
For the record, I'm okay with funding, just in case, especially in case my mom's watching.
You're a statist. Anyway, this is Patrick's topic, and he has a question.
Well, so let's ask this question right up front. We're talking about the humanities. When we're talking about science, hard science, engineering, clearly, those disciplines, there's an end product. Mm-hmm. They're doing research to build better widgets. They're doing research to come up with new drugs. Mm-hmm. There's an end product in most cases with almost every aspect of the hard sciences. Since there really isn't, what is the purpose of the humanities at a college campus? Now, I would say there's two answers to that question.
Oh, you ask it and you get to answer it?
Yes. But
that's awesome. Go ahead.
There's two answers, and we can debate how we feel about those two answers.
Awesome.
But the first answer, which is what most academics would say, is it's all about the search for truth. It's all about the search for knowledge and truth. Okay? So that's one,
all right.
One justification
that's
for
like
the humanities.
The first choice that people whip that out.
Right. The academics, that's what they're going to go for first.
Search for truth and look at it from every angle and undiscovered ways to observe the human condition and blah. Okay.
Now the other answer is kind of an old-fashioned answer. It's, the purpose of the humanities is to create more cultured and more well-rounded citizens.
So, in essence, to transmit the culture.
To transmit culture, period. Now, there's nothing wrong in my mind with transmitting a broader understanding of culture. I'm not one of these, flag-waving patriots that's like, we have to teach our kids to be good little Americans. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that, you should leave college with some degree of appreciation for music, for literature, for history. You should be a much more well-rounded and knowledgeable person when you graduate than when you came in. Even if you're an engineering student or you're going into physics or whatever it may be, you should still be able to appreciate fine music, fine art, good books, all of those things. That used to be considered a primary purpose of our universities. It's actively being undermined and attacked now. A lot of these academics will say, well, it's not my job to promote the works of dead white men.
Well, it's not necessarily promoting, though. That's my objection to that
right.
answer, is that that's the world that the people have lived in. That's the world. That's preparing you for the world. You need to know, I think, and again, I'm not advocating for public funding of this, but people are better equipped to be adults if they know what kind of world their parents and grandparents lived in, even if they dissent from it, even if they hate it, even if they want to turn it on its head. You need to know something about it and be well, reasonably well versed in it.
Right, and certainly history and I'm kind of a history person. I love history, and I think if you understand history, it makes it a lot easier to understand the present. Because you can see things in the present that have existed previously or have happened previously in history, and you can understand the differences, but you can also understand the similarities. So there's real practical citizen value, and to me, a good citizen is not necessarily somebody who's a patriotic flag-waving American
and who votes every time or whatever, pays their taxes, all that stuff.
All of that. I think a good citizen is somebody who is capable of engaging in our system, even if they don't agree with a lot of the system, or even if they don't support a lot of the things that the mainstream supports, they're at least capable of engaging in a dialogue with people who do that is respectful and understanding and is not this rigid doctrinaire sort of Marxist thinking that we get now, which is there's only one correct way to look at the world, and here it is. And any questions? No, there are no questions. Never mind.
Because nobody's left to dissent from that.
Exactly.
Academically.
I have to just throw in, I think it's very important that places like University of Madison also don't end up with things like some of the things they do have, like DuPont and Halliburton having this huge connection. I mean, I believe there's a Halliburton Geology Center, and
Sure.
I'm disgusted by that.
Well, anyone can put their name on something if they give money. Look at Van Hise Hall. We didn't come up with that. You didn't talk about that last week specifically, but Van Hise was a huge eugenicist, the same generation as Richard Ely, and his name's on this building. That's got all
that
the
comes down to
languages in
choice.
of
It comes
things.
down to choice. The universities have the choice whether they're going to work with certain people or not, and certain groups, and then people have the choice if they want to go to that university or not. But it's a difficult thing because I'm not completely opposed to funding of the university. I'm very opposed to the way the university spends its money. I mean, at any time, this school specifically, you can find 100 brand new SUVs that they have that are maybe more than a year old that just sit in all these lots all the time. The university wastes money on so much crap, and the cost of the university is way too high because they make a new building and they're going to make the building's ceiling 300 feet tall rather than making it cheaper for everybody to go there. So yeah. I mean, it's like I don't know how you would have it be that if they're going to take government money, then there should be some more proper spending of the
Well, they're a government entity in essence, and they behave like one. And if anyone listening or in our room right now has worked for a government-funded program, you know that you're basically explicitly instructed to spend out your budget so that you can ask for more next year. And so in those cases where vehicles show up that are paid for, they save some money somehow, but they needed to spend it by the end of the year, so they create this need for new vehicles or whatever.
Well,
it's a very common thing.
Quick point is that the thing that upsets me the most actually is how the University of Wisconsin Police Department have now statewide authority.
And I agree with
mean,
that.
and it's just
so does the Capitol Police, right?
The Capitol Police have
well?
statewide authority, but the University of Wisconsin Police students and the government are paying for their police officers to be able to pull over poor people on South Park Street 2 miles away from the school that have nothing to do with the school for having a headlight out. Yeah. And so why are we funding the UW police
pork.
to be...
Where are they going to learn how to be revenue confiscating police officers if not at the university?
Well, they have good jobs coming at the IRS.
It's like the junior force, right?
Yeah, it's like it's like the apprenticeship program.
They have to be prepped. In your comments previously, though, when you said the word system, I was thinking the word society. So when you talk about people being prepared to interact in a system, I think the word, not to put words in your mouth, but I'm thinking society, right? There's a certain way, and it kind of gets back to your point about what's true and what's truth. human beings, no matter how you want to try to change what they are, and I'm not talking about gender, I'm just talking about human nature, the way people are. It's always been the same and likely is always going to be the same. That generates a certain necessity in terms of people, dealing with each other, forming groups, families, workplaces, clubs, neighborhoods, whatever. There's a lot of truth in that about just who we are and how we are. And there's a lot in the humanities, historically, that reflects that speaks, like Shakespeare, speaks to human nature quite a bit. These are things that people are learning about who they are, not just as individuals. And universities are very happy to break things down. But who are you? That's a truth question. But you can't ignore all the past and reinvent and tell people who they are out of nothing, which is it's brainwashing.
Part of the problem, Phil, is that they're actively attacking the very idea of meaning itself. They're saying that the language has no intrinsic meaning, that a book has no intrinsic meaning, that culture has no intrinsic meaning. But at the same time, then they will also say, well, you can't be engaged in cultural appropriation because that's bad, even though they're directly contradicting themselves when they're attacking the very meaning of culture. But what I'm saying is, if we, by saying let's cut half the budget of all of these departments as a starting point,
yay,
and then follow up with the challenge saying, okay, if you want to keep your job, you have to do one of two things. You have to either become an excellent teacher and dedicate yourself to teaching undergraduates the humanities, of preparing them to be better citizens, or you have to show that your academic work has some end byproduct that's of use to society, that it's not some tiny little rat hole that only you and 12 other people in the United States care about or understand.
Well, that's how the sciences that's how their research is. That's how they justify their existence.
To your point, Miles, the point is, the reason that all that money comes into the university is because the people working there produce stuff that
Halliburton
Exxon
can use.
Mobil
and I'll say this,
find useful.
Yeah.
The mega coddling and sugarcoating of life to all these students there, this everything's going to be politically correct and you're never going to get offended. It is going to create a new generation of baristas and tattoo artists.
We can only drink so much coffee and have so many tattoos.
Sitting around being offended all the time by the world.
You're going to have millions and millions of students who either don't finish college or they're going to finish college, but they're not going to be able to do shit with their degree because, Donald Trump was president and they went out to a protest and made an idiot of himself. And now there's a YouTube video where they're going, blah, 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 Donald Trump.
And that's their resume.
That's
their
resume.
Here's a video of me protesting.
That might just be their LinkedIn.
Hire me. Here's a video of me protesting and
I'm not saying don't
wearing
protest.
pink hats on my
what
head.
I'm saying is you're gonna have all these people make an ass of themselves, and then they're never gonna get their jobs in corporate America that they want. I don't even want a job in corporate America, but a lot of people who want a job in corporate America who are freaking out right now. I mean, they may not want it now, but they're going to want it someday because they're studying all this crap to have this corporate job.
Yeah, and there's a basic responsibility that we have to at least take care of ourselves, to at least keep, take care of your own keep. How's that saying go? Maintain your own keep your own.
Oh, keep calm. I mean, that's the thing.
Keep calm, carry on.
But you got to be able to produce enough to sustain your own life, pretty much, and that's not the case with a lot of folks. I mean, they get poor, this mess of an education, come out, can't make enough money to support themselves, and then end up, being supported in some way, shape, or form. It's just, it's
to be honest
anti-productive.
with you, I don't necessarily believe in the vocational training model of universities, that it's all about jobs. But you know what? You have to have some kind of you have to at least prepare people if they're going to be art historians. They have to be well informed, good citizen art historians.
Agreed. We'll cover that and more. We'll be back with the Free People Show in about 2 minutes. Thanks. Back shortly.
Would you like to experience being one of the free people who produce their own meat